And just like that, we're in 2026.
Can't believe it.
It has been quite a year, and the elephant in the room is I'm trying out new glasses and still don't know if I like them or not. But that's not what we're here for. We're here for me to yap about my favorite books of 2025. And just as a reminder, these are my favorites. They didn't necessarily come out in 2025. They're not necessarily something that I think everyone's gonna love, but they are ones that I want to shout out and talk about and share kind of, you know, the highlights of my reading year with you guys. And so I have 7 books that I'm gonna talk about and 2 honorable mentions. Let's get into it. The first one, probably one of the biggest surprises of the year, World War Z by Max Brooks. I listened to this as an audiobook. If you've watched my other videos, you might know that I normally don't read fiction audiobooks because I always derp out and then get really annoyed because I don't like being confused. And with fiction, a lot can happen or change in a couple minutes of dialogue or, you know, action. And I just don't have time to rewind. This book won me over. I loved it. For those who don't know, the structure of the book is a series of interviews. Post-apocalypse, you know, zombies have wrecked what we consider modern civilization, and people are now slowly rebuilding. But this guy is going around and collecting the stories of these important figures and these people that were in different regions that had different situations or roles or skill sets during the war against the zombies. Because of that style, it made it really easy for me to stay focused because it almost kind of felt like a podcast in a way, because it's just a series of interviews. And, you know, you had like this very complete conversation and then it moves on to the next conversation. And so with each interview, you have a refresh point, so to speak. So if you missed a little something, you're like, okay, now I can start fresh with this new interview. And while they're all amazing on their own and they all come together to create this bigger wealth of knowledge and picture of what happened where and when and stuff like that, if you missed one, you'd be okay. And in fact, I didn't know this when I just, you know, borrowed it from my library, but this is a full voice cast and they got some like big hitting people voice acting into this, like actual celebrities, actual like actors and stuff like that, which I've never seen that before in a full cast. My understanding is they originally produced it as an abridged version. So that's the one I listened to that was like 6 hours. But it was such a hit that they came back around and did like the full version that is like 12 hours. And so now I'm desperately seeking out the other the other version because I want more. I want more. And it's so cool because even though they're talking about events that happened in the past, it's really fascinating because it's a mixture of, it's like fantastical character studies. Because you got like a guy that's in the military, you have a person who was like a leader of a country, you have this like average person whose family decided they were gonna like try to drive away from New York into Canada to be safe, and all these different scenarios, as well as you got some unreliable narrators amongst the stuff, and you just have people being people where like they have certain thoughts and opinions based off of their life experience and whatnot, and they maybe don't have the full picture either. Kristen from Coast to Coast Books podcast, shout out, mentioned how good this book was, and I'm like, okay, I'll give it a try. Delightful. One of easily was going into this list, and I read it earlier in 2025, and I'm like, still thinking about it, still loving it, still on the lookout for the full version. Number 2. So I read this as an ebook, Hope in the Dark, Untold Histories, Wild Possibilities by Rebecca Solnit. Now, I only heard about this book because the Social Goods Marketplace, which is a store near me, hosts a quarterly, I think, book club. and this was their pick. And while I wasn't able to make it to their book club meeting, I did get the book and read the book. I was highlighting left and right on this ebook. It is so topical. It is so current. For anyone who's worried about the current state of the world, this is the book you need to pick up. It is hopeful without being Pollyannish or sugarcoating anything. And it's giving you real life examples from the past of different tipping points or how small things dominoed into creating positive change and methodology that we can use moving forward. I read this earlier in the year and then I reread it in the middle of the year because I wanted to take all of those notes and compile them in my little like Notion page where I do book notes and stuff, because I think I'm going to be coming back to these quotes and these ideas and these examples over and over again. So it's nonfiction, but it's not super long, it's not dry, it's not dense. Anyone who's anxious, anyone who's feeling depressed or apathetic, I think this is the book to pick up right now. Really, really good. I don't know what else to say. Pick it up. Pick it up. If you don't read nonfiction, I don't care, pick it up. Number 3, Rest is Resistance, a Manifesto by Tricia Hershey. So I read this originally as an audiobook. You might even better know her work from on social media from the Nap Ministry. I listened to her as a guest on a podcast, fell in love, knew I needed to have more of her in my life. I actually was in the library the other day and this exact book was on a display and I'm like, I've been really stressed. Like, it's not too far into 2026. I'm stressed. I think I need a reminder to deprogram me from capitalism and hustle culture and, you know, this like race to the end of what, I don't know. I really liked this book, and at the beginning I was liking it, but I wasn't sure where it was going because it seemed in some ways a little repetitive on the surface. But as you go on, and it's about a 5-6 hour audiobook, she does go into some deeper thoughts and some of her own memories and stories and things like that. And the repetition actually became kind of meaningful. So she's an artist, she has a background in poetry, and especially with the audiobook, which she narrates, you start to get into that rhythm. And it clicked to me. I'm like, oh, we have heard things that we've been made to believe in our culture over and over again. So it only makes sense that if we're now trying to absorb a different message, we need to hear it again and again. We need to have it like sink into our bones. We need to sit and marinate with it and really know on a cellular level that rest is good. You are good. You don't have to earn rest. You are more than a productivity machine. And yeah, really, really good. Definitely impacted how I viewed something as simple as taking naps for like the rest of 2025. Whenever I started getting myself into like a worked up state of needing to do all the things, being like, no, no, I don't have to. I could, I might, but like I don't have to do any of this. All of this is optional. I am good just right now. And then go from there. So, highly recommend. And also check out any podcast that she's been a part of, because she's dope. She's an awesome human. Number 4, The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches by Sangu Mandana. So I read this as an ebook. Delightful. Just lovely. Just, we got found family. We got a little romance. We got some magic and whimsy. I thought the world building around the magic was really fun and very interesting. And the idea that magic is all around and it almost is a bit sentient. It wants to be used. It wants to be creating with witches, so to speak. So the more witches that are together, the greater likelihood the magic will happen, especially if the witches are untrained or just, you know, the magic builds up and it's like, I want to do a thing. So you have this witch who grew up alone because for whatever reason, witches end up becoming orphans. And so she lived alone, and because of this rule to protect witch secrecy of like, you don't get together with other witches on the regular, she's just been a lonely gal. But she occasionally posts on the internet, and then this guy finds her and he's like, yo, I need your help. And so she goes and finds out that they have 3 underage witches that are living together. And they're like, we need you to train them. And it's so good. It's so good. Oh, it was such a guilty pleasure. I felt so like, I don't even know the word for it. It's just, you know, this. Every time I got to like sneak away and read it. Like, I should be doing something else, but I'm gonna read this. It made me smile. And that's always a good moment when like your cheeks hurt a little bit because you're like smiling too hard from a book. It doesn't always happen, and I'm a picky gal, so when it happens, I'm like, yes, good, good, good. And I think she has another book out that my friend Rosica has read, so I need to hop on that one because we need some happy times. We need some mood stablers in the form of these delightful stories. It's good. I might even reread this one. I've been in a real reread kick. Let me know if you've been the same. I don't know, and rewatching things. It's been a minute since I've rewatched or reread, and I had a good ass time with it, so I'm probably going to continue that in 2026, but I'll tell you more of that in a different video. Number 5, We Are Not Like Them, a novel by Christine Pride and Joe Piazza. Oh, the other thing that's funny with this list is that a lot of them are ones that weren't on my radar. I wasn't like highly anticipating them. Several of them I didn't even know what to expect. I was just going in blind, really. And this is one of them. It was so good. It was so good. My friend was getting rid of a handful of books. These are advanced reader's copies, so you can't sell them or anything. And I'm like, okay, this is an interesting premise. I will read the little thing on the back because I think it summarizes it really well. A lifelong friendship between 2 women, one black and one white, is tested when a police shooting connects them in ways they could have never expected. A powerful and poignant exploration of race in America today. Oof. This isn't a book I would normally pick up. This isn't my idea of a good time. Obviously, just the topic and like subject matter and content is going to be really stressful, like by default. I was intrigued by the idea that it's 2 authors writing this, and they happen to be friends, and one of them's black and one of them's white. And so that got me intrigued. I'm like, And so you have this back and forth between the 2 perspectives of the black friend and the white friend. Oh God, it was a good read. You could see where everyone was coming from, which was all the more heartbreaking when they're in conflict and they're feeling hurt by the other, because you're like, oh, I understand you. Oh, I understand you too. This just sucks. You know, there's not this easy bad guy. There's not this like, well, they're the problem. If this one person was gone, if this evil king disappeared, everything would be lovely. It's just, how do you unravel racism? And how this like flashpoint moment just breaks apart so many things, so many relationships, and it reveals the cracks and problems that have been lying underneath this whole time, but that like in different circumstances, it didn't have to be addressed, but now it has to be. It's kind of a must read for Americans. I learned a lot as a white person reading this book. It made me cry. It made me laugh, which again, I think is such a sign of good writing, that you can have something that goes as deep into the feels as this does, and it tackles such a hard topic that could go sideways when writing very easily. And not only does it well, but then is even able to bring in those other life elements, the embarrassment, the humor, the heartwarming times and moments. And yeah, so it was a real, I think, masterclass in writing in that way. I was very, very impressed. And I'm curious if they've done other stuff, like what their other work is like, if they've done it together or apart and all that fun stuff. Number 6, The Wonder of Small Things, Poems of Peace and Renewal, edited by James Cruz. I got this while thrifting. It's interesting to get a poetry collection that's a mixture of different poets based around a theme, because poetry is already very hit and miss, at least for me. When it hits, it can like really hit hard and resonate, but the misses can be just as far and wide. So then you kind of increase the likelihood of that if you then have, 20 to 30 different poets. But god diggity damn, I was so blown away. This was it felt meditative. It felt very like something that helps you be in the present moment. A lot of the poems just have a vibrancy and a immediacy of place, of like color and texture and sensation that was very grounded. Like, you don't have to have been like a lit major in college to understand what they're getting at, but there's still a beauty in the language and a beauty in how things are structured that you can appreciate if that's what you're into. And then it doesn't even stop there, because you have, I don't know, maybe 10-ish poems or so, and then there'll be a reflective pause. And this could have so easily felt cheesy or gimmicky, and it didn't. I didn't. I'm such a jaded and bitter person that, like, I'm extra surprised I was won over, is what I'm getting at. But anywho, so it's like this beautiful pause, great for like journaling, writing reflection, or if you are wanting to be a writer or a poet, something that you can have a jumping off point for your own work. And I'm just like, oh, that's delightful. So like, it would have been a great collection if it was just these poems, but then you add that element, I'm like, this went above and beyond. And like, now I have so many poets that I want to look up, and I want to read more of their stuff now. So and he apparently does, he has several of these kind of like collections out there, and I'm like, good darn it, I'm gonna have to, like Pokemon, collect them all, because I'm definitely gonna be revisiting this one. The last one I don't have, number 7, it is an audiobook, The House in the Cerulean Sea by T.J. Klune. This book won me over, dragging and screaming. There was so many things in the first, like, it was an audiobook, so I don't know, maybe like 30, 40 minutes that had me just kind of rolling my eyes. And again, I tend to not listen to fiction audiobooks, so that already kind of puts it at a disadvantage. But the narrator is fabulous. Love him. It's not full cast, but it kind of feels like that because he does such a good job of giving like really distinctive voices. Some narrators, they just say the words, but like this dude is acting, and I give this man a raise. Anyhoozle. House in the Cerulean Sea. Also found family, also fantastical, also like whimsy, cozy fantasy vibes, but also goes deep. But it's also goofy and ridiculous at times, which is a hard blend. Like I said, at the beginning, it had a lot of things where I'm like, I kept going though, because I had friends who really liked it. Because what you have in the beginning is this dude who's essentially a social worker for like orphaned magical kids. And it's like, it's so heavy-handed with the writing of just like the tiny violin, screeching about how like bad his life is and how everything sucks and like the weather sucks and his neighbors suck and his work sucks. It is such a comical degree that just turns me off. I'm not a fan. Like we don't need a pity party. Let's go. I get it. Like we're gonna have a transformation. Like it's a journey before and after. The before sucks. Let's move it along. There were times where the book was funny, and then there was times where the book was trying to be funny, and I'm like, okay, calm down. You breathe. You don't like, do you have a quota? Do you have to like have the funny per page? I don't. But anyway, I would be listening to this in my car and talking to the book. And there was moments where I laughed, there's moments where I teared up, there's moments where I'm going, oh. And by the end of it, I'm like, darn it, I think I really like this book. I'm such a Grinch. I don't know why. But anyway, if you get me that involved in a book, if you're getting me to not only finish something, but have like a participatory interaction with it, you deserve to be on the list. So here we are. There are things that you're gonna have to just push aside because it is never addressed. And it's just never addressed. And it still drives me a little bit bananas because, and this is not giving anything really away because it might be on the summary, but it comes up relatively early on, which is one of the kids is the son of the devil. And it's not like, oh, that's what people think he is. It's not like, oh, he's got powers that make people believe that. No, it's just like cut and dry, like kind of written like, yeah, that's just who he is. Which means in this universe, there is a literal fucking devil. And we're not going to address that. Is there a god? Is there a gods and goddesses? Is there a sky deity? Like, what the devil be doing? Is like, does he have more kids? Never addressed. Never addressed. As you can see, I get very animated by this book, so it felt only fitting that I put it on the list. The two honorable mentions are honorable mentions because are they my new favorites? Probably not. Will they last the test of time in my noggin? Who knows? But the first, A Sense of the World, How a Blind Man Became History's Greatest Traveler by Jason Roberts, was such a fun read. There were so many good tidbits in it and interesting trivia about history and different cultures, and this dude who's just like rocking it around the world. You know, this is before GPS. He doesn't have Google Translate. He doesn't have functioning eyeballs, and he's just doing laps on the rest of us. And I just, amazing. And like, he's gone to places where he's like, ew, gross. This is too traveled. I want to go to like the middle of nowhere. And he survives things that shouldn't have been survivable. He like goes to this island in Africa at one point and almost like 75% of the people die from malaria. Not him. So cool. Such a like lost dude. Because like his stuff is kind of like faded away from like public consciousness. But like he did so much and he like wrote books. So it's not even like he doesn't have documentation or anything. But you always know a book is good when you're like going around and like at parties or talking to different people and be like, did you know blah blah blah? Or like, I can't tell you this one thing I just read. And so I wanted to give this a shout out because it's so well written. It apparently was a finalist for the National Book Critics Circle Award. It doesn't read like boring old history. It has great pacing. It's just so fascinating. And he's just such a character. He encounters such interesting situations that in some ways it does read like fiction in that pacing enjoyability aspect. And last, I don't have a copy of it because I actually gave it away because I was like, oh my god, Rick from book club would love this. And that is Big Guns by Steve Israel. This is a only too relevant satire of American politics and gun culture. And ooh boy, do I wish it was less relevant. In it, we follow a full cast of characters that are just comically on point for lobbyists, senators, CEOs of gun manufacturing and industry. And it takes some like really savvy shots at both sides. So obviously there's a few more shots given to the right, who tend to be pro-gun, but like there also is commentary on the left as well. So I think it does a good balance. You also have yeah, you're going back and forth between all these different characters and their agendas and what they want and what they don't want. How this most ridiculous thing ends up coming into fruition because of all of these people's different agendas, which might not 100% align with this bill that's going through, but they're willing to let it go through in order to benefit themselves. And so essentially the thing of it is that there's a lot of shootings in Chicago in the book, and you know, so the gun manufacturers are getting some heat because it was like their guns, and they decide to create a bill and, you know, through their network and push it through of, let's not, you know, have smart laws around guns. Instead, let's make it require that every American, like, is strapped. Like, make sure every American has a gun and it's just packing at all times. And it sounds so stupid and ludicrous, but that is where America's gone. I would not be surprised if I saw that on the news tomorrow, that's what people were pushing. And so because of that, it was funny, but wasn't always ha-ha funny, because like in my bones I'm like, oh god, that hits a little too close to home. That's, I wish this was just stupid fiction and far-fetched, but it's just not the reality in America right now. Is it something I'm necessarily going to reread or that I love? No, but it was so well done. It was so well crafted. I think it's a really funny, interesting read. I think it's good commentary, good characterization, which sometimes falls by the wayside when you're dealing with satire. Sometimes the outlandishness and the loudness of the social commentary or cultural commentary kind of overshadows plot or character or setting, but I felt like he did a really good job of juggling all of that. It is satire, but it's also a story. Props to him. I picked this up randomly at a book fair. It was good. And I had never heard of it before. I think it was published a couple years ago. I think the dude actually worked in politics at some point. I don't have the book in front of me, so I'm getting paid $0 for this, so I forgot to look it up before I hit record, and I'm too lazy to do it now. So here we are. So those are the 9 books that I had to highlight, that I had to talk about and recommend and yap about for 2025. I would love to hear what you read and what you loved in 2025. I am hoping to do more videos more frequently. I have a huge backlog, but boy oh boy, having a full-time job, having to find time to squeeze in some video editing, and then like being sad in the winter was just a horrible combination. So I'm gonna see what I can do. Like and subscribe, because that's what you can do. So whenever this weirdo posts something, you'll be the first to know. And I'll see you next time. Bye.